Okay, so we've got this pile of language learning stuff to go through.
Yeah.
We're going to tackle something that I think pretty much everybody listening can relate to, and that's this feeling of
Yeah.
knowing a language, but then
Yeah.
completely freezing up when it's time to actually speak it.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
You know,
Yeah.
that moment where like your brain just stops.
Yep. Yep. Totally.
So we are going to dig in to the reasons why that happens,
Okay.
unearth some of those like aha moments,
Right.
and look at some strategies to help us break free.
I like it.
And let's be honest.
Yeah.
Who hasn't like fallen into that like overthinking grammar trap
Right.
and just like gotten stuck?
Happens to the best of us.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
we're going to unpack all of that.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I'm excited. What I find so fascinating about this whole topic is how universal these reasons for hesitation are.
Right.
It's not like just some individual quirk.
Yeah.
It really speaks to like the core of how we're wired as humans.
And honestly, this list of like 10 reasons why we freeze up, so like
Okay.
a greatest hits of language learner.
Anxieties.
Fear of making mistakes,
Yeah.
the feeling
Yeah.
that we don't have enough words,
Yeah.
the dreaded accent, it
Yeah.
all
Adds up.
adds up to us staying silent.
Right.
But you know what really struck me was the fact that this fear of messing up, it's something literally everyone experiences.
It's so true.
It's like our brains are programmed to like
to avoid it.
avoid it.
Yeah. That totally ties in with what
Yeah.
the source was saying about vocabulary.
Right.
It's not just the number of words you memorize.
Oh.
It's about having the right words ready to go
Yes.
in specific situations.
Oh, that's such a good point.
Think of it like
Yeah.
trying to build a house with only nails.
Okay.
I mean, nails are important,
sure.
but you need a whole toolbox
Yep.
to get the job done.
Yeah.
My
Yeah.
language is the same way.
I love that analogy.
Yeah.
It makes me think about
Yeah.
that time I tried to order coffee in Italy.
Okay.
And I knew
Yeah.
I knew the word for coffee, but I
Right.
blanked on how to ask for milk.
Uh-huh.
So I ended up with a very
Advantage.
strong espresso
Yeah.
and a very confused barista.
That's a perfect example of
Yeah,
how
yeah.
even a small vocabulary gap can just like
Throw us off.
totally throw us off.
Yeah.
And here's where I think things get really interesting.
Okay.
The source mentions fear of mispronunciation.
Right.
And a lot of times it's our own perception
Oh, we just
of our accent,
okay.
not the
But
reality.
yeah, that holds us back.
So it's not about sounding exactly like a native speaker.
Right.
It's more about just
Yeah.
being understood and communicating
Absolutely.
appropriately.
That's the key.
Yeah.
And that's where confidence comes in.
Right.
The source is spot on.
Yeah. When they highlight low confidence as a major fuel for hesitation,
Yeah.
but confidence is built on small wins,
Okay.
not perfection.
So instead of aiming for perfect grammar right off the bat,
Exactly.
the goal should be
Yeah.
getting the message across
Absolutely.
and building fluency from there.
100%.
Okay. I love
And
it.
that connects back to what the source was saying about seeking out practice opportunities.
Right.
Think about a specific situation where you'd like to speak more confidently.
Cool.
It could be ordering food at a restaurant
Yeah.
or having a simple conversation with a colleague,
Yeah.
and just visualize yourself
Okay.
navigating that scenario successfully.
Which brings us to the idea of
Yeah.
culture clash.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Big one.
The source touches on how cultural norms can really impact
Yeah.
our willingness to speak up.
It's so true.
You know, it's fascinating how cultural differences can lead to these misunderstandings.
Yeah, sure.
For example, in some cultures, direct communication is valued,
Right.
while in others,
Yeah,
politeness and indirectness are key.
totally.
So let's say you're learning a language where directness is the norm,
Right.
but you come from a culture
Yeah.
that values being more indirect.
Uh-huh.
You might hesitate
Yeah.
in conversations,
Yeah.
appearing shy when you're actually
You're actually just trying to be respectful.
gotta be respectful.
Yeah,
No.
exactly.
Right.
So understanding those nuances can make a world of difference.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
It's huge.
So okay, we've got a good grasp
Yeah.
on why we freeze up,
Right.
but the real question is,
Yeah.
how do we actually overcome these hurdles?
All right, let's get to the good stuff.
Yeah,
So let's go back to those 10 reasons,
Uh-huh.
but this time, let's sprinkle in some advice
okay.
from your sources. For the fear of negative evaluation,
Mhm.
remember,
Yeah.
focus on conveying your message clearly,
Okay.
not on achieving perfect grammar.
Right.
Yeah,
Especially the beginning stages.
Right in the beginning.
Right.
don't sweat the small stuff.
Yeah, it's like getting the point across.
Exactly.
Is the priority.
Sure.
The finer points of grammar can come later.
Yes, exactly.
What about that overthinking grammar trap?
Oh, yeah.
I know. I am so guilty of that one.
One of the best strategies your source highlights is practicing set phrases.
Interesting.
It's a game changer because you're not constructing sentences from scratch every time, which builds fluency and confidence. It's like having pre-built blocks to work with.
Okay.
Think about common phrases you use in your native language and start learning their equivalents in your target language.
So it's about baby steps.
Yes.
Celebrating the small victories.
Absolutely.
And gradually building from there.
100%.
Kind of like building that confidence muscle.
There you go.
We were talking about earlier.
Exactly. Remember, becoming fluent is a journey, not a destination.
Right.
It takes time and consistent effort.
For sure.
But the rewards are immense.
Totally.
Yeah.
So to wrap things up, it's completely normal to hesitate when you're speaking a new language.
For sure.
But understanding those reasons is the first step to overcoming them.
Absolutely.
You know, the sources that we looked at today were really great at pinpointing those individual factors.
Yeah.
But it got me thinking, what about a bigger picture?
Oh, interesting. Like systemic factors that might be at play.
How do things like education systems or even societal attitudes towards language learning play into this whole hesitation phenomena?
That's a good question.
Yeah. It's definitely something to think about.
Something to ponder, for sure.
All right. Well, on that note, we're going to wrap up our deep dive for today.
Sounds good.
Thanks for joining me.
This was fun.
Yeah, this was great.
All right.
See you next time.
See you.